In this video, we take a look at the brand new beta for Rekordbox DJ version 5. Find out more coming up. Thank you for watching PDot TV, where you'll find tips, tricks, and tutorials for DJs and music performers. Now let's get into the video. In this video, I'm going to go over my top 5 likes and top 5 dislikes of the new Rekordbox DJ version 5 beta that Pioneer DJ just put out. So let's go through the likes first. So first up will be the most glaring, the one that you can notice the most when you open Rekordbox DJ version 5 beta, is the new flatter, cleaner design. I really like this. It's a lot nicer to look at, a lot less cluttered in my opinion, but still maintains a lot of features that you can still open and close real easily. It's really modular. It reminds me the flatness and just the overall layout, especially in this vertical waveform mode, reminds me a lot of Serato DJ actually, and I really love the cleanliness and the layout of Serato DJ, so that's why it's my first like for this new Rekordbox DJ version 5. So the new cleaner, flatter design is a perfect segue into my second like, which is the actual deck layout they have in Rekordbox DJ version 5. So if I go ahead and just load a song, if you notice, you get a lot more information, and again, it looks strikingly similar to Serato DJ, which isn't a bad thing at all, because you get that nice big font and a lot of information of the track. Hold on, I just noticed that it actually doubled the BPM, so let me fix that real quick. It's that fast. So if you see right there, from the top to the bottom of the text, you have your actual BPM that it's running at currently, then you have the pitch percentage as well as what pitch range you have. So right now it's at 0, and notice I have my internal pitch set to plus or minus 16. Then below that you have your running time for the track and then time remaining. So this is a lot of information, and a lot more information than we had in the previous versions of Rekordbox DJ. Now you saw it momentarily, but if you throw the cursor over it, you get a secondary function. So right here you can pitch up and down using the mouse, which is pretty cool. And then right here, which is cool that they added this on the actual deck, which reminds me of the actual CDJs, is that you use these two buttons right here to actually pitch bend up and pitch bend down. So it's pretty intuitive, especially if you're coming from the CDJ workflow and you're used to, having to move the deck forward and backwards. You can think of these two buttons as the virtual equivalent of that. So I really like this new deck layout right here and all the information that it provides, especially in comparison to the previous versions of Rekordbox DJ. Now my third like is the new grid edit mode. So you saw me jump into that real quickly when I was fixing the BPM of this, and it's this button right here, and you get all these nice controls, and they're really easy to locate and really easy to see, and they make them really big and really understandable. So you have your buttons right here, which let you mark the 1-1, so the first bar, first beat, adding beat markers, and then you can shift the beat grids left and right. Then you can shrink the beat grids or increase the size of the beat grids right here, as well as double the BPM, half the BPM, and making adjustments to the whole track, as well as being able to turn the metronome on and off, metronome volume. And what's nice is there's an undo as well. So if you made a mistake when you're editing your beat grids, you can just go ahead and click undo, and it gives you an extra step that you can go back just in case you mess up, which is a feature that I'd like to see in Serato DJ and Tractor as well. And then right here we have the lock and unlock, which can lock the beat, the BPM of the track, just like in any other DVS software. So I really like this beat grid edit mode. I like how all the functions are laid out real nicely, and also I love the little tool tips that let you know exactly what each button does as you go over them, and just makes it really nice and really easy to use, especially with the track right here. I wouldn't necessarily use this mode to edit my beat grids. I'd probably go into horizontal, just because you get more information and you can see the actual track, or more of the actual track. So let's switch back to vertical real quick, and then we'll move on to the next new feature of Rekordbox DJ version 5. My next like is actually the new key shift feature. So if we go down here and we switch the deck mode to key shift, you can see you have plus 12 to minus 12. And also at the bottom, you have semitones up and semitones down as well, which is really cool. So what this is sort of like in Rekordbox DJ. If you have the pitch and time plugin, you can pitch up or pitch down the actual song, and you can actually key match the songs as well. So Rekordbox DJ, of course, will take the actual key information and analyze the key information within the software, or if you're running another software and that key information is saved, it'll transfer it as well using something like Record Buddy. But what you can do is exactly what you could do in Serato DJ with pitch and time, where you can pitch up and pitch down a track and key sync. And what's really cool about this is that this feature is actually just part of the actual Rekordbox DJ version 5. This isn't an extra plugin as far as I'm aware. I'm currently just using the subscription method. So to my knowledge, this new key shift feature is part of the software. So if that remains true when this the final version, public release version comes out, that's huge, because pitch and time is an extra cost and an extra plugin for Serato DJ. So for Pioneer to actually build that into the software and make it part of the software without having to give anything extra is really cool. It allows more DJs and more people to access these features and be able to use them and get more creative with them, which is always great. Now my last like is kind of nerdy. So if we go, let me switch this back first. If we go into the settings and then we go to advanced, where is it? If we go to controller and go to other, right here, they've actually changed the quantize mode and they've made it a lot more in-depth. So you can have different quantize values for not only your hot cues, but your loops, reverse, and sequencer as well. So why this is really cool is, some people like having the snap and also your snap as well. So this means if you turn quantize on and then you can, have sync on and have the beats match up. Most people that use sync and quantize like having it set to 1 because it makes the most sense. It'll leave it on beat. But for stuff like, if you're hot queuing or like, doubling up or kind of drumming on it, you might want to have that set to a quarter beat or a half beat. Same thing with loops and reverse as well. So it gives you more flexibility as a DJ when previously you could only, just have the quantize set to 1 value. With these new features, you can actually kind of mess around and have different quantize values set up for different features within Rekordbox DJ, which is really cool. So if you want to mess around and have more flexibility drumming on hot cues, that's now possible while still maintaining this the 1 beat snap for bringing in songs and having the sync work. So this is another feature that I wish other DJ softwares would implement, because this adds another layer of flexibility, like I mentioned, and just lets you get more creative with the software because you have more options with your cues and your loops. Now let's go into my dislikes. So let me just close the settings right here. Now the first one would have to be that with your mouse and keyboard, there's just no quick way to switch between deck modes currently that I found. So if you noticed right here, I have the hot cue set up, but if I want to, move to my pad effects, I have to switch using this right here. And there's a whole lot of deck modes that are accessible once you open this menu. Previously, in the other versions of Rekordbox, you would just have a couple buttons right here, which made it really easy to access because you could just click on the buttons. But this one, you actually have to open the drop-down menu and switch in between these two, or all of these functions. And me personally, when I was DJing with Rekordbox DJ in previous versions, I liked having my hot cues open, but also I'm a big proponent of pad effects just because I like the way that they function, and you don't have to, it's just really easy to use, especially for, doing your echo outs or your reverbs or delays, stuff like that. Just being able to have momentary on and off was just really cool and really easy to use and really user friendly. But to be able to see what effects I'm using, I'm going to have to hit this drop down menu and switch through that, and then when I'm done with it, I'm gonna want to switch back to see where my hot cues are. And it's just an extra step that I don't think was really well thought out. I hope that in the future that they do set up some type of quick switching with like maybe a keyboard shortcut or something like that, because right now I just find this really cumbersome and just a lot more extra than it needs to be to switch between these modes. And to follow that up, my second dislike is actually that for the beginner DJ, this is a lot less intuitive, in my opinion, than the previous versions of Rekordbox DJ. I mean, granted, you can have the mixer open and then you can kind of DJ with it, but if I was a beginner DJ, I wouldn't know how to switch between these modes. I wouldn't know what this is, and this, if you couldn't guess, this is actually your loop functions, which is kind of weird. I mean, you'd have to scroll between this and then, turn loop on and off. It's just like I don't know. It's not really user friendly from a beginner standpoint. Like, I understand what most of this stuff is because I've been using different DJ softwares for years now, and you kind of get used to what functions are and where they're kind of placed on the screen. So if I was a beginner DJ, this probably isn't the most user friendly. I would say for me still Serato DJ is the most user friendly just because it's so basic and everything is pretty much laid out and it's just really easy to read. This is, to me is actually, sadly, this is probably second place, with Traktor being the least user friendly just because there's so many options in Traktor. But still, it would take me a while to kind of get my head around how to use all these features, especially with all these panels that you can open and close. I mean, of course, the beginner DJ is not going to need to use all of those, but I'm sure they're going to want to know what all of those features do. And it's just not as intuitive as the previous versions of Rekordbox DJ were, in my opinion. Stuff like having the different pad modes and the looping and stuff like that just not being the same as it was before and not as easy to access just makes it a little bit harder for the beginner DJ. And I think that's a serious downfall of the software. I hope they, fix that, and just, I know the tooltips kind of help, and just being able to scroll over something and an explanation popping up, but it doesn't pop up for everything. Like, for instance, I'm hovered over the loop mode right here and it's not telling me what it is. I mean, I'm gonna have to actually open the manual or just mess around. If I was a beginner DJ, I wouldn't know. So hopefully maybe they can add more tooltips going forward, but that's something that needs to be addressed, because if Pioneer DJ is serious about Rekordbox DJ being a major DJ software, they have to make it more accessible for all the beginners, especially with the kind of audience that the other DJ softwares have. For people to want to look at Rekordbox DJ and want to make the switch, you got to make it more beginner user friendly, and I really hope they work on that. My third dislike is something that I've disliked with Rekordbox DJ since they made it a full-fledged DJ software, and it's the fact that MIDI mapping still sucks. So at least they made it more accessible because it's on the front now, and you can, go ahead and just set up your mappings. But if you're familiar with how to map in Traktor Pro, then this is going to feel, you're going to feel at home with this, because it's the same thing where you have to select, what MIDI node or whatever you're trying to map. You have to hit learn, turn the knob, press the button, and then after you do that, then go ahead and pick what feature you want to assign to that knob, which is really cumbersome. And like I said previously, it goes with what my last dislike is that it's just not user friendly. Where in softwares like Serato DJ, you hit MIDI, you scroll over a button, you click on it, then all of a sudden it just says, hey, what MIDI button do you want to assign to this? And you just press that MIDI button or turn that knob, and it's mapped that fast. And it's just so quick to map any device for Serato DJ and Serato Scratch Live back in the day. They just made it so intuitive and so easy to use. When I went back to Traktor and trying to map, third-party controllers and stuff that wasn't mapped, or editing maps for older third-party controllers, it was always a headache. And even though I've mapped things for Rekordbox DJ, it's still not an easy task, or it's still just so time consuming to actually MIDI map something the way you want it for this software. And I really hope that Pioneer DJ switches the way MIDI mapping works, or just makes it a lot more intuitive, because right now it's definitely a mess, and definitely something that the beginner DJ is not going to want to tackle off the bat. And my last dislike is the fact that there is no prepare playlist for Rekordbox DJ. Using the prepare panel and being able to drag tracks into a playlist, a prepare playlist is like a staple of the way I DJ, and the staple of the way that a lot of open format DJs play, where you can throw a couple tracks in that have different kind of feels and different vibes. You can try to feel out the room, and once you load it to the deck, it just erases itself off of that prepare playlist, which is really handy because you don't want to have to, throw something in there and then load the same song twice. It's just something that I wish more DJ softwares have. It's something that I found so useful once I understood what prepare was and I saw the way you were supposed to use it, or the way that is useful to me and useful to other DJs and the DJs that taught me how to use it. It's something that just become a crux of my sets and the way that I DJ. And when I have to DJ in other softwares, I mean, I can still DJ without it, but the ease of use and having the ability to throw a couple tracks into that list and just have them ready so you have multiple options. I've said in a previous video, reminds me of the old days of vinyl crates where you could pull a couple records up and have them sticking out of your crate, so you had options when you're going to the next songs, and you didn't just have to worry about, oh, let me find one song to load and then, oh, let me go look for another one right after that. You can pull 3 or 4 or 5, have them ready to go, and once you throw that record on, either toss the sleeve out of the crate or drop it back into the crate, just like in the prepare crate. Once it's the deck is loaded, that song disappears out of the prepare and you're good to go with the rest of your set. And I really hope Pioneer finds a way to include this in the software because it's such a really cool feature, especially if you play open format, hip hop, top 40, whatever you want to call it. The prepare crate is definitely something you want to use.
So that's a look at the new beta for Rekordbox DJ version 5. So question of the day, does this new version and all its new features make you want to switch over to Rekordbox DJ? Go ahead and leave that down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. As always, if you found this video useful, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click right there to subscribe to this channel. Or if you'd like to watch more content, go ahead and click on that video right there. And thank you for watching PDot TV, where you'll find tips, tricks, and tutorials for DJs and music performers. See you next time.